Welcome to a Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. My name is Nav, and my pronouns are they, them.
And my name's Harmat, and my pronouns are Hershey, like the chocolate.
And this is Game of Thrones, Season 1, Episode 1, Winter is Coming.
Whoa! I never thought I'd hear you say that in my lifetime.
In this episode, we watch the show Game of Thrones.
Whoa!
Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
Surprise!
So yeah, surprise! Here we are doing this. We watched the first episode of the show as a special bonus for our 100th episode.
Yay!
100 episodes. Can y'all believe it?
Yeah, that feels weird to say out loud. Like, this is our 100th episode. We have done 99 other ones. Mm-hmm. Well, we've done more because we had to re-record a few of the first few because we kept losing audio.
But we
recorded 99. Like, that's wow.
It's wild.
Yeah. Anyway, happy 100.
Happy 100. And this is a special episode. We're not saying that we're going to cover the rest of the show right away. Mm-hmm. I feel like we will cover it eventually, but that is to be decided. We just wanted to watch the first episode, and now I can reference things from the show that, like, Harmat isn't, like, you know, I could be like, oh,
it is live action. It's not cartoon, even though
exactly.
I already was like, no way, this is a cartoon show, but
yeah,
you know.
I could be like Sean Bean, and then you would know what that means, because Sean Bean's the guy who plays Ned.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I guess you don't know, but I can explain it at this point.
Yeah, you can be like, oh, there's this really funny thing he does with his hair, and now I have a visual of that.
Yeah, he gets a haircut or a head cut.
I don't know if he was really in charge of that, but we can get to that.
Yeah, okay, so initial thoughts, vibes.
Okay. Whoa, weird, what? Like, okay, so Nav and I met up yesterday, and we were sitting there, and, like, we were like, okay, like, let's watch the show, and Nav's, like, about to press play, and I just, like, I was like, oh my god, like, this is, it's, like, there's, like, a piece of innocence there, like, a part of the sweet summer child has now left, I think.
Yeah, this like episode is also kind of like a reward for you for getting through the Red Wedding.
Exactly, yeah. I really like the timing of this because I think I needed this. I needed something, you know? So, yay, I guess. But yeah, no, like the casting.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
So, folks, the first thing Harmat said to me after we finished the episode was, can we watch the next one? To which the answer was no, but, like, that should tell you a little bit.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it because, okay, so obviously Nav and I had been cahooting about this in private, and Nav was like, and I was like, oh my god, of course, because I think I was like, we need to do something special for our 100th episode, and Nav was like, do you want to watch the first episode? And I was like, shook. I was like, wait, what? So, like, it was like too good to be true. I was like, no way, like, this must be a joke. But then we kind of talked about it a bit more, and, like, I was getting very excited, and Nav was like, control your fucking expectations because it's a pilot, like, the budget is not there, like, all of that. And I was like, no, but, like, the show. And so then I was like, oh my god, is it gonna be disappointing? Is it gonna be me thinking, you know, Arya and Catelyn are about to reunite and they both fucking die? Like, is it giving that? But then after watching it, I was like, nah. I think if I hadn't read the books first, or 2.5 of the books first, I definitely would have been disappointed, and I might or might not, I mean, it's hard to say, but I may or may not have kept going. But I think knowing the context, it was not disappointing at all, because the casting was really good, so it just put faces, and it just, like, smoothed out my thoughts of those chapters in a nice, cohesive way. So I really enjoyed it.
Also, you thought so much of the cast. You were like, oh my god, that guy's hot. No, that guy's hot. You thought everybody was hot. Except Jamie, which I feel like he's objectively attractive.
Let me just say, okay, by the end of the episode, I get it. Okay. I think it's just, it's not that I don't think Jamie's actor is hot. I think, thinking about it, what happened is I expected Jamie's actor to be so hot that when he was just hot, it like, do you know what I mean? It threw me off and it made me be like, oh, he's kind of ugly. But I didn't really mean that. He was just kind of, I didn't really mean that. I don't think he's kind of ugly.
You did actually say ugly now that I did say ugly. I said he was
kind of ugly. But then I thought about it and I was like, I don't think he's kind of ugly. I think he's just not as hot as I would have expected. But he's still like if I saw him in the street, I'd still like die.
He wasn't, he looks a lot more attractive in other episodes than he does in this one. He like
kind of grows into it, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But you know, he had I do understand why he was cast, because he had the smirk, he had the little like I don't give a fuck vibe, you know, without saying it. Well, kind of saying it at some points, you know, so like it made sense. But I think I was expecting him to like be like illuminating, and he just wasn't, and that's okay because that's not human. So
you were expecting like superhuman type of attractiveness, I guess.
I don't know why, but I think I just was. But John's actor, like, you guys, I'm already a John fangirl. This man is so hot. Like, every time he came on the screen, every time he did his little, like, pout, like, I hate everything and everyone hates me, like, just, like, oh my god, like, the damage in that man's face, so attractive. And then... And then Rob was also really attractive. And yeah.
And I kept because I've seen all these actors like grown up, because like compared to like 2010, they're like much older now, right? And even during duration of the show, they grow up. Mm-hmm. So to me, everybody was like, oh my god, you're a baby. Right. Even like Ned, I was like, oh my god, you're a baby and you're alive. Like,
meanwhile, I'm like, oh my god, you're so hot. Yeah, so I had this... Oh no, we'll get into everything.
Okay, so casting was on point. What did you think of like the costumes, the set, that kind of thing?
Okay, costumes, great. Loved. Slay. However, set was... There were highlights and there were not highlights. Like, the Weirwood... And the scene where Catelyn and Ned are sitting there, and there's like the little not pond, I forget what it's called, but the pond.
Like, it's the springs, like the natural hot springs.
Like the hot springs, and then like the Weirwood, like that scene was like really magical and just like beautiful and exactly what I wanted it to look like. The Weirwood, I think because we've seen so much of the Weirwoods being creepy and like, oh, there's some sort of supernatural going on, that to see them so pretty was just really delightful. That like, it's gonna go from pretty to creepy. Like, that's just a better arc in my mind, and I like it. So Weirwood's gorgeous. That was gorgeous. I liked every time we were at, like, it was logical, but I still liked that it happened. But all the, like, just the fogginess of the Winterfell scenes was really nice. Like, like when they were going to, go...
The beheading
and everything. Beheading and everything. Like, there was just... It just added an eeriness that was just, like, perfect for Winterfell. And then, yes, I loved the faraway shot of King's Landing. And, like, the sky was, like, pink and orange. And it was just, like, oh, my God. Like, how could bad things happen in this place? Like, this is gorgeous. Like, it just, like, built it up. It, like... In my mind, it was not that pink and orange. Like, I didn't have that sunset, like, beauty in my mind, I just kind of envisioned, like the Red Keep and, like, all that, but I didn't really envision, like, the surroundings and how that can also play a part in the deception of King's Landing not being as great as we know it, as not being as great as we'd like to think it is. And then also, okay, I guess we'll get to the theme song, but that was cool.
But yeah, hang on. What about Pentos? What did you think of that?
Ooh,
like all of Dany's.
Yeah, that was cool. It was nice. Like, even if I'd like just tuned in, it was easy to tell. Like, even if I hadn't read the books, it was very obviously a totally different continent, different place,
which was
cool. Yeah. Which was really nice. Yeah. Yeah. It was
Okay,
cool. I liked
cool.
it.
Yeah, let's talk about the like opening credits and the theme song, because that shit is just the best. Like,
bananas in the best way.
I can listen to it 100 times and I can watch those credits and like the whole, like, everybody knows what we're talking about. I can watch the whole map unfolding a bazillion times.
Yeah.
I should have been a cartographer. I don't know what I'm doing with my life because I love maps. I really should have considered, given more thought to like taking that more seriously, you know?
Yeah.
But I love it. What were your thoughts on it? So you had actually played the song, like the music, in like a band class in junior high.
I don't know if you guys remember our episode 1 where I said everything I was spoiled on. And I remember in that episode I'd mentioned, oh yeah, we played. Okay, it's coming back to me. My sheet. Okay, wait. Let me explain this, and then I'll explain why I gasped. No.
Okay.
I got you. Okay, so in band class, in a grade in band class, and this was like pre-pandemic, we'd played a medley of songs from the Game of Thrones series, and and so I remember telling Nav that, but then because I have no memory, I didn't actually remember any of what the songs were, like the titles of the songs. And then I remember at the time you were like, oh, I wonder if you heard them again, if you'd recognize it. And then so as soon as the theme started, I was like, yeah, I played this in band. And I remember I was like, hey, Nav, like, what's the title of the theme? And yesterday we both couldn't remember it, but it just came back to me. As I'm talking about it now, I can remember what my sheet music looked like, and I think the title sequence is called Winter is Coming.
Okay. Let me make sure that is what it is called. That was not it.
I don't know. Also, can you add that to the playlist of unspoiled songs I can listen to?
It's not called Winter is Coming.
Is there another one that's called Winter is Coming?
I feel like there is. I feel like that would be like the Stark theme song.
Okay.
It's literally just called Game of Thrones theme or main title theme. Like,
so I haven't heard Winter is Coming yet. That's sad. I don't like that.
Or you might have heard it because there was a lot of like music going on in the background.
But I don't remember music associated with the Starks. Like, I just remember there was the theme where Robert was coming in. There was the theme. There was something associated with like in Dany's stuff.
Yeah, all the characters or like parts of the world kind of have their own like
that makes sense.
Type of music. The music in this show is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
The composer, like the main composer, his name's Ramin Djawadi. I'm probably mispronouncing the hell out of that, but he's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And any kind of music he does for anything, I'm always impressed by it. So
okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And did you like the map and then like going to King's Landing and Winterfell and also the wall? You weren't impressed by the wall like in scenes though.
Yeah, but the wall in the map unfolding was cool because it was interesting to like start with it up close and then zoom out and be like, whoa, even 700 feet is nothing, you know? It was like a nice little like just visualization of it. Yeah, and also the map just reminded me of Stannis's room with the table of maps.
Oh yeah.
It was
the room of the painted table.
Yeah, it was giving Stannis, and I was like, he's not even in the episode, and he somehow has a chokehold on this. Like, okay. It just, well, I guess it's not his, it was like the Targaryens, so that also makes sense. Yeah, so it was really cool to like kind of go back to that, and like if I hadn't read the book I wouldn't have made that connection. So it was cool. I really liked it. It was like, and I felt like it was good for the theme just because there's so many characters and there's so many like different places that they go that it doesn't really make sense to have people's faces in the scenes because they're all probably gonna be dead, so you can't have that you can't have that continuity. Like it really feels like this is a. But then I guess they really only featured very specific places, so I wonder if every time they change the places, or if every season they change the places, depending on what's most featured.
Going on.
Because we do know that in this season, pretty much, or not in this season, in this book, we pretty much stick we definitely have Winterfell because Bran's there, and then all the other characters are initially there.
We've got the Wall, we've got King's Landing, obviously. Dany like moves out of Pentos.
Right, that's true. So maybe it does change by episodes. I wonder. I don't know.
And like Catelyn does a bunch of traveling, like,
true.
And she goes to like
Tyrion
the Eyrie
does.
and like
Tyrion
all
does
kind
too.
of stuff.
So maybe it's based on. But we didn't see the Wall. Oh, we did see the Wall in the prologue, huh? Yeah, I wonder. I don't know, cause yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. Anyway, that's for you to find out at a later time. I think we've talked about all the general things. Do you have any like overall general thoughts before we go like scene by scene, kinda?
I don't think so.
All right. So the show opens with the gate at the Wall going up and these 3 rangers going out to range, I guess. They're just like walking into the woods. And this part was like real low budget compared to like,
yeah,
you know, it's kind of where they needed a lot of special effects, but like
it was giving walking into any Winterwood anywhere in the world.
Yeah. And we're going to be doing like a little bit of like, in the book, it was like this. In the show, it's like this. If you don't like it, sorry, but it's going to happen. So they get to the woods, like, and then they kind of like, one of them, who I think is supposed to be Will from the prologue, like goes kind of off ahead onto one side. And he pulls up on this kind of like ledge. And he looks down and he sees a bunch of dead bodies and blood and just not even dead bodies, but like dead bodies cut into pieces. And they're arranged in this weird kind of like symbol, which doesn't exist in the books, but I guess they were trying to make it like, this isn't just like a random slaughter. This is like systematic or something.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and there's this little girl like impaled on a tree.
Yeah.
And it's real creepy, and he runs away and goes and tells his other people who are Sir from our prologue.
Please, back in the day, the OG Sir, you guys, who survived for 0.2 seconds. Barely a Sir.
Yeah, I gotta say, the first time I did not notice a difference between any of their costumes, but this time I was like, oh yeah, the Sir, you know, I think his last name's Royce, something, Waymar Royce, no, something like that. But he's got like a much nicer cloak and stuff, so it's obvious that he's richer, so...
Yeah, the way his hair was, and you could tell that it could grease up within 0.2 seconds, just really fit in with my imagery of this man. And just the way that his face, because the thing is, he had the reason I bring up his hair is because my first thought was, his haircut is wrong for his face shape, and it was intentional, because obviously he doesn't listen to anyone, you know, because his face is so small, and then his hair was like already covering his face, and it was like, dude, you can't do that, like you already have a small face, and it just kind of made his face look really beady in like the perfect way. And just like, the casting, what I'm trying to say is I enjoyed the casting.
Even like the minor characters were cast really well. Yeah, so they are, so he's like, okay, I saw some shit, and then he leads them to the place, but when they get there, it's all clear. Like, there's nothing in the clearing. And the dude's like, what, like, go check out what happened. And, like, Will goes off to, like, look around, I guess, or something. In the book, he's supposed to, like, climb a tree and, like, check out what's going on.
And then he's, like, freezes on the tree when he sees all this shit goes down, because he's like, what the fuck? I can't go down, I can't go up.
The older guy is elsewhere. It's in the book. This is what happens. So Sir is like standing around waiting for Will to find out what he sees in the tree when the White Walkers approach him. Yeah. And they like kill him, and Will is like frozen in the tree and can't do anything about it. But he finally, like after they've left, he comes down off of the tree, and then Sir, who is supposed to be dead, opens his eyes and they're bright blue, and then kills Will. And the person that escapes this whole thing is the older guy. And when he shows up, like, to be beheaded by Ned, he's so traumatized he doesn't even say anything. Yeah. And so that's how that goes. In this, Will goes off, Sir gets killed by the White Walkers, And then there's this point where Will and the older guy are kind of like staring at each other across the way.
Yeah.
And there's like the dead child staring at them.
Mm-hmm.
But then a White Walker just comes and beheads the other guy, and Will runs away and gets away,
even
I
though
guess.
he was like, he wasn't even like 3 meters away from him. And somehow he just, and like, it just, I think also visually, it kind of looks ridiculous. Like, having it like that,
yeah.
like, I think having him in a, like, I understand, you know, they wanted to change it up, but I think visually, like, even for the show, like, it just looks weird to have him see that, and then, you know, like, it was just weird. And then same thing, like, having that extra, like, having that, like, him in a tree, like, that shot would have been cool. That, like, those levels.
Yeah, but I think they were just trying to do whatever was easiest logistically.
Yeah. And also, like, the White Walkers were just giving creepy doll aesthetic. Like, it was like mannequins and like dolls. I was like, okay, Barbie movie, like, what's
they were
happening?
like all really like dark with just the bright glowing eyes, and they did not look, because like the White Walkers are supposed to be like icicles, you know?
Yeah, no, this was just like a raggedy
and they've
doll.
got that like reflective armor. Like it was none of that.
Yeah.
I will say that the White Walkers get much better.
Oh,
like,
okay, nice. Good to know.
Yeah, like once they have money, they can like do more with it.
Yeah.
So this was like prototype. It's fine. It was for like 2 seconds in a scene. It's fine. Whatever. So Will gets away. Then we cut to the credits. Mm-hmm. Oh, also, did you notice that all like the sigils are like being displayed? Like King's Landing has the stag sigil, and Winterfell has the what's it called? The direwolf sigil. And yeah, so credits. Okay, then we pull up on Will being captured by some Winterfell guys, I guess. I don't know, like Northmen. And then we cut to Winterfell and a rider going to Winterfell, and it's Bran practicing archery with Jon
beautiful.
And Robb, like trying to help him, but also teasing him and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's not very good, and he's 10, he's working on it.
Yeah,
and
which he's 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
because they're laughing at him, and Ned's like, and which one of you is a marksman at 10? Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing, by the way. Everybody is aged up by 3 years, which I let you know.
Yeah.
Which makes it a little bit more.
I thought that Bran was Arya at first. Because of his long hair. I fully was like, this is Arya.
Oh yeah, everybody's got long hair in this.
Yeah, I know, but my first thought was, this is Arya. But then when he like didn't hit it right away, I was like, maybe this is not Arya? No. Like, and then it was like, oh no, this is Bran. Okay. Yeah, and Catelyn and Ned are standing like up on a balcony watching them do this, and it's like a cutesy scene. Yeah. It's like, oh my god, enjoy the company while you've got it. Like, bro, they were so happy. Why couldn't we just have like a few books of like, you know, them being like, let's deal with the others, but let's all deal with it together, because we're here at Winterfell, and it's beautiful, and it's sweet, and it's just like, they were all in the same room. I can't remember the last time they were all in the same place. Like, what?
Yeah.
And it just like, and like, it was just so nice to see their dynamics when they were all together, like, you know, Catelyn and Ned, and just like, you know, it's like, it was just like, once again, casting was beautiful. And they were just like, you know, she's just like kind of holding his arm, and it was like really sweet. And then the kids are just kind of down there. And obviously Sansa's not there, because why would she be there, right? Like, why would...
Yeah, well, Sansa and Arya, who we cut to, are in their like needlework class, I guess, with the septa. And Sansa's like killing it. And Arya's like looking over bitterly because she is not killing it.
Arya's eyes in every scene that we saw.
Them?
Like, it just... I don't know, something about her eyes were just kind of perfect. Like, her eye movements, her, like, eye acting was just a slay. Like, good job, child.
These kids, given how, like, young they are such good actors.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like just, she was acting with her eyes, and that's all she needed.
They're so good. Yeah. The casting director, like, deserves such a kudos, because to find such talent is, like... amazing. Yeah. Anyway, so we cut back to Bran practicing, and he's like finally lining up his shot, and they're like giving him tips, and he's like pulls to like let it go, and then there's like another arrow shoots past him and hits the target, and then we cut to Arya, who's shot the arrow, and she's like, ha ha,
queen. Love her.
So, like, Bran goes running after him and everybody's laughing and all that. And then what was his name? Royce. No, not Royce. Roderick Cassell. Sir Roderick Cassell comes up. I don't think he's identified as such in the first episode, but I'm just going to tell you that it's him. He and Theon Greyjoy come along and inform Ned of the deserter. And Ned's like, all right, get everybody ready. We got to go do this. And also tell Bran to come along. And Catelyn's like, but he's a child. And Ned's like, yeah, not for long. And winter is coming.
That was kind of iconic. I was like waiting for that. I also liked that they kept a lot of the iconic lines. Like that, and then like, well, we'll get to it. But the things I do for love.
There's a lot. They pull a lot of the dialogue directly.
And it was just, I know you said the consistency with the book, like, you know, kind of falls off the rails after this season. But here, like, I'm so impressed. Because usually I feel like even with the first episode of something or the first movie of something that's derived directly from, like, a book or something, like, even in the first one, they don't hit it. But I think this is one of the most consistent things I've seen.
Yeah. They were really quite true to the books.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they get ready to ride out,
also,
and then
I just want to mention.
Go ahead.
Later on, just for the listeners, before watching the show, I made an ideal cast list. So we're gonna go through that.
Yeah, I think we should save that for the end.
I'm just telling them in case they, like, leave before.
Don't leave.
No, but if they do, just so they know, like, hey, if you don't like this, you can just skip.
Yeah. Oh, I'm watching it, and like, so this is kind of the scene is wrapping up, and little Rickon is helping them retrieve all the arrows, and it's so cute. But Catelyn, like, looks back down the balcony and, like, makes eye contact with Jon, and she gives her, like, the dagger eyes.
This was, like, low-key perfect. Like, the amount of tension in one look between Catelyn and Jon was beautiful. And she does that, and she, like, flares her nostrils slightly, and it was, like, perfect. And even throughout the rest of the episode, this actress is so good at her, like, Catelyn's, like, little, like, pained expressions. She's just so good.
I think her name's Michelle Farley. Let me confirm that. Farley? Michelle Farley. Anyway, yeah, she is really good. And fun fact, she plays Hermione's mom, like, in the second to last Harry Potter books.
Really?
Because I remember watching that and being like, Catelyn, what are you doing here?
Oh my god, that's funny. Huh.
Yeah.
Nice little overlap moment.
Yeah. Acting on point, and even Jon is like, oh.
Yeah. And then in response, Jon's like hot facial expressions, you know. No, but like the acting was there too. I just wasn't paying attention to it, so I can't really speak to that.
Honestly, I was wondering whether your Jon fangirl would like continue through the like with the show as well, and
it's
like the second we see him and you're like, he's so hot, and I was like, oh, I guess. Like, you were
here's the thing,
into it immediately,
because in my mind Jon was supposed to be hot, but I didn't know if they were gonna cast him as hot. Like, I don't know.
Still just so funny to me.
No, I think this is where all of my trauma comes out. I'm like, wow, this like really this man who cannot emotionally regulate, very emotionally dysfunctional, has some trash beliefs, but maybe, you know, they'll get better with time. Like, it really, the I can fix him really comes out, and I hate it, but it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, good actor too. I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, Kit Harington, that's his name. He's pretty good.
What's his name?
Kit Harington.
Kit Harington. Okay, also I was telling Nuv as we were watching it, when the credits were rolling, so I had to get Nuv to repeat the credits scene because I started paying attention too much to the actor names instead of I was like, wait, I need to see that again. So when I was looking at the actor names, it was weird because these were all actor names that I was familiar with, but I didn't know why I knew them, and it just shows you like the cultural impact of this show, that like I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know who Kit Harington is until now, but I've heard that name a billion times, it feels like.
Yeah, they like there's people like Sean Bean didn't need the show to be popular. Like he was pretty well known before then, but a lot of like especially the kids really like this was their breakthrough and now they're everywhere.
Yeah, also in this first scene, I was a little confused because in my head, Sophie Turner was Daenerys, not Sansa.
Because you didn't realize how young Sophie Turner is.
Yeah, because like I've only ever known of her of like, oh, her and Joe Jonas have a whole family together, you know? Like that was my context for her, so I just assumed she was older than she is.
She can act. Let me just tell you. She can act.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we should really get through. We're like not even through the second scene. So we cut to Will, the deserter, being brought for his beheading, and everybody's there, and he's muttering like, I saw the White Walkers, which is not something that happened in the book. Like, it was just like kind of ominous, and the readers knew why he's freaked out. Yeah. But here he's trying to tell the people, and the people are just like, he's a madman, it's fine. Yeah. And Ned just kind of like listens to him like ramble on, I guess, because that's supposed to be like his last words and stuff.
His last little, you know.
Yeah, and then he does the whole in the name of King Robert of the Seven Kingdoms, the whole thingy. Yeah. I sentence you to die. And then he swings his sword, which is ice. But like I said, the Valyrian steel isn't Valyrian stealing.
This is not ice. The fuck is this? I don't care if Joffrey gets this. Like, come on.
Like, it's a good sword. It's just not giving Valyrian steel. It's not.
Like, I don't know. I just, it's not. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, and you thought the shot, like, of the beheading was, like, a little janky.
Yeah, the head, like, what is that? That's not a head getting chopped off. That's, like...
Yeah, they do the whole thing where Jon's like, hey, Bran, don't look away. Father will know. And then afterwards, like, Ned approaches Bran. Is like, you understand why I had to do it? Because the man who passes the sentence should swing the sword. And which is, like, a direct kind of, like, foreshadowing to when he gets sentenced and somebody else swings the sword. Yeah. Just kind of being like, this is a weird thing we do, but it's honor. Yeah. I think we talked that whole point to death, like, when we talked about the book. But this is pretty accurate to the book. They do the thing, then they're, like, riding home when they come across a stag that is just, like, dead in the middle of the road. And they, like, trace the blood to where the dire wolf is, and they find the puppies, and it's cute, and they get the puppies, and Jon does the whole thing. There's 5 puppies, 5 kids. Take them. But then he finds Ghost, and it's great. Like, oh my God, all the same stuff. Theon is Theoning all over the place. Does this or does this guy not have the most punchable face ever?
I don't know if he has the most punchable face ever, but he definitely... I do want to punch that face. I will say that.
Like, such perfect casting, too. Like, he's so annoying. He's getting on my nerves immediately.
Yeah.
And it never... I don't think there's ever a point where, like, it says Theon said, or, like, somebody's like, Theon, do this. But you knew immediately who he was just by how he was acting.
Oh my God, yeah. Ugh, yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, a weird thought. Theon's actor, to me, kind of looks like if Ron and Harry Styles, or like what's Rupert Grint and Harry Styles,
yeah,
were like the same person.
I see that, yeah,
and it kind of threw me off, but it was kind of funny.
Yeah, he's also a good actor. Like, I don't think anybody in this show
there was
is a bad
no one
actor.
Where I was like, that was not acted accordingly.
Yeah, no, everybody's great. And like, yeah, okay, I don't want to talk too much. And okay, so we now cut to King's Landing with that beautiful kind of like faraway shot of the city, and it's
how could anything
pretty.
Ever be going wrong in this city? It's gorgeous.
And we cut to the throne room, and we know it's the throne room because the Iron Throne is there. What did you think of the Iron Throne?
It was cool, but I feel like a lot of the special stuff is like cooler in my mind.
Yeah, and like in the book, the stairs are also made of the swords, and it's like whole like several feet high, and it's real like threatening looking. This was like they sanded down the swords to make it comfortable kind of vibes, as opposed to if you sit on it, you are definitely getting stabbed.
Yeah, totally.
And they've got the funeral for Jon Arryn happening in here, which I was so confused. Like, I remember watching it for the first time. This is one of the very few things I remember from the first time, is being like, why is this happening in a throne room as opposed to like a church or something, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then like Cersei's just hanging out by one of the windows, just being like casually watching over.
Yeah, this was a confusing little like what's happening.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, Jon Arryn, like they've got these like stone painted eyes on his eyes, and that's like a show specific thing they do, but it's kind of like to indicate like, oh, this guy's dead. Yeah. Like those are his eyes. I don't know if you remember, but like in a lot of Indian TV serials, whenever somebody dies, they always, like, to indicate that they're dead, they would stuff cotton up their nose. Like, that was the visual.
I remember that. I forgot about that.
Like, nobody does it in, like, real life. Because, like, why would you need to do it?
Just to show that they're not sleeping and being carried.
Yeah, it's a visual, like, indication that this is dead. And I find these eyes, stone eyes, to be the same, serve the same purpose.
That's an interesting connection, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, Cersei's hanging out, and Jaime comes up all like sauntering, just like casual.
And this is the point where I turned to Nav and I was like, Jaime's ugly, ? And Nav was like defending his ass immediately.
He is not ugly.
Yeah, he just wasn't as hot as I thought he would be. But then by the end of the chapter, by the end of the episode, I kind of warmed up to him. But it was an initial shock.
But you thought Cersei was really pretty, like, immediately.
Was, like, perfect casting. Like, she had the perfect amount of, like, I'm gorgeous pride. And I can get what I want, but also, like, I'm annoying. But it's like, I'm only gonna pull out the annoying when I don't need you. Like, it was the perfect amount of, like, catty, and it was just beautiful. But also, I don't know if this was just my brain going cray-cray, but, like, I swear Jaime had, like, I don't know if it's just the way the actor talks, or maybe, I think it was, like, almost like the rhythm of his words, but it was just, he talked distinctly to other characters in my mind.
He is, I believe, Swedish.
Okay, interesting.
But, like, I know everybody, like, puts on kind of, like, a British English accent.
But his was kind of, like, different. It had, like, a different flow to it than everyone else's. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
So, I wonder if that comes from his, like, background.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's Swedish. It's either Swedish or Danish. It's one of those two. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
But his name is Nikolai Coster-Waldau. Okay. He's great.
Yeah, because it might have been that, but it might have also just been a thing of, like, just him being so, like, weirdly chill compared to everyone around him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody's so serious, and he's just so not serious. So I think maybe that was an intentional
choice of, like, just of him being like, yeah, bro. You know, like, that sort of vibe, except in British Westeros. Which, why are they all British? This was interesting.
Because, like, this is based in, like, the series is kind of a pseudo-Europe. Like, medieval Europe.
Yeah, but they didn't have to be British.
No, but I think that's kind of, like, the stylistic choice they made. Okay. So, anyway, they're talking about what Jon Arryn knew, like, right out in this open area, right here. Anybody could be walking by. Yeah. And they're like, what did he know? Did he tell anybody? And also, Jaime, you should be the hand. Mm-hmm. And he does the whole, nah, no thanks. Mm-hmm. And this is a conversation that in the book they have in the tower that Bran overhears. Mm-hmm. But they kind of simplified it and, like, had the conversation here and then the other stuff later. Yeah. So that's pretty much the scene. Mm-hmm. There's, like, nothing else. Yeah. So we cut back to Winterfell and a raven flying in. And Catelyn grabs the letter and heads over to the Godswood, where Ned is sitting there cleaning his thingamajig, ice. Yeah. And this is a beautiful shot. And I showed you afterwards that I actually used kind of like a painted over version of this shot as one of our initial Instagram posts because it looked not like it was from the show, but just like a painting, and it was really good. So she pulls up and she's like, okay, yeah, John Aaron's dead, sorry about that. Also, the king's coming. And it's like, oh my god, he's gonna want me to be Hen, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to.
Aww.
And Catelyn's like, yeah, you just gotta say no, I guess.
Right? Yeah. Oh my god. And I was just reminded of how kind Ned was. Just because I remember in the book, because we got this scene from Catelyn's perspective, and this was the one. This was the first time, because it was our first time meeting her, where she was like, "I don't belong here." You know, that was her whole thing.
She has like a whole like inner monologue of like, this isn't like where I grew up and all of that. In the show, they sum it up when she just goes in and she's like, even after this many years, I feel like a stranger here, which I thought was a quick, like, good summation. It was good, of it.
Yeah. If we can't be inside her head, just have her kind of do that, yeah. So as she's kind of going through that, she had this, like, when she was telling Ned, she's like, oh my god, like, I'm scared to tell him, whatever, and she like, points out, she's like, even though he knew John Aaron for all these years, and, like, you know, it was, like, his big mentor, he's still, like, hey, like, how's your sister? How's that? You know what I mean? Like, even in that moment, he's still thinking about others, and I was like, oh my god, Ned, I miss you. You're dead.
You're too good for this world, literally. Yeah. So they relieved you of that burden.
Wow, how kind of them.
And the burden upon your shoulders, of your head.
I hate that that's funny.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, so now they're preparing for the king's arrival, and Catelyn makes sure there's a bunch of candles in Tyrion's room, whether he wants to drink away his nights or read them away, whatever. And they make a joke about his stature, which I was like, I guess. And then we get a scene that we did not have in the book, which is all the guys getting shaved. This was a
beautiful scene. And it just really, I feel like it was necessary because I think in the books, it's heavily implied that they had a trio. Like, it was like John and Rob, and then like Rob and like Theon were really close, and Rob's like, he was like a brother to me. He would never do that. Like, we knew all of that from the books, but we never actually got to see it. So it was nice to just see it before all the betrayals happened, where it was like, they were just like buddies. Like, I really enjoyed when Rob was like, there's not a girl John likes better than his own hair, so like, cut it well. And I was like, this is just like, it's giving brothers in the best way, and you can see that there's like no, I mean, other than Theon, there's like no animosity, and it like, I feel like if I had seen this, I wouldn't have been like, they're gonna fight for the throne, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So it was just really beautiful, and I really enjoyed this edition of this scene.
Yeah, it was cute. They're just fooling around, and then Bran is climbing up the towers, and he sees the king's party approaching, and he like rushes down to tell everybody, the king's here, you know? And Catelyn sees him and is like, Brandon Stark, I told you to stop climbing and promise me you'll never do it again. And then he's like, I won't. And she knows he's lying because Bran's gonna Bran, you know? And also, she makes a note of, like, how much the puppies have grown, the wolves. Like, they were, like, little bitty, itty-bitty wolves, and now they're, like, kind of, like,
wolves,
medium-sized dogs sized. Yeah. So, everybody gets into formation, and Arya's, like, running around wearing a helmet for some reason.
As she should.
And, yeah. And so everybody lines up to greet the king and the party.
The music was cool. The king's
music. Yeah, it was, but like, it was really intense music for like a just walking up scene.
Yeah. It wasn't like they were going into battle, but you know, I guess they had to really establish it.
Yeah, they're like, this is the king. Know it.
Okay, this is where we get our first glimpse of Joffrey, because for some reason he's like the first person to walk in. Okay, I know this was a choice, but I still found it hilarious. His foundation just being so, like, cakey and, like, and it just, like, it was a good choice, but it was just, like, of course his is overdone. And just his face was, like, kind of perfect. Because I can understand.
Yeah, the pointed, like, nose and, like, you can see him just like looking down that nose at everybody.
It was like a perfect, like, I can see why all the girls are like, wow, he's so gorgeous, but also, like, knowing what we know, it's like, yeah, you know that he's gross. And,
not great. Yeah. The Hound is with him, and they actually do, like, the helmet that's in the shape of a hound's head, which I thought was, like, pretty impressive. Because that's a hard kind of, like, costume thing to pull off, you know? Yeah. And you gotta have it functioning where it actually opens, and, like, all the things. So one of the wagons pulls up, and this is, like, I think in the book, the wagon is so big that it can't even fit through the gates because it's like a whole house on wheels. Yeah. But in this, it's just like something that Cersei and her kids can sit in, you know? And Robert rides in, and you were like, this is Robert? Like, you were totally unimpressed by him.
But I guess that was kind of
which
the point.
I think is the point.
Yeah, that's why when you were like, there were no bad castings, I was like, well, there weren't, but there were confusing castings, but it still made sense.
Yeah. So he comes in, everybody kneels, he gets off his horse, walks up to Ned, and does, like, the get up gesture. And they, like, stare off for a second, and then Robert just says, well, you've got fat. And Ned just gives him this look. I remember watching it the first time and just laughing my head off because it's a real good look.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It's like,
okay.
Have you seen a mirror recently?
Yeah. Oh my God.
And everybody's like real tense, but then this breaks the tension and they're laughing and hugging.
And
he goes and, like,
I don't know, it was just nice to see him interact with each one of the kids and have a little moment. Like, it was just really, like, it just, you know, because I think we knew that Robert loved kids, but it's nice to see that Robert loved kids other than his own, but you know.
Other than his quote unquote own. Yeah. Yeah, he greets all the kids and it's cute. And Cersei walks up at this point and just, like, offers her hand to be like, kiss it. Like, do the thing and get this over with. Yeah. And she is so perfectly Cersei at this moment.
God, yeah. It was, like, the perfect amount of haughty. Like, just go... Like, she just... And her, like, facial expressions, like, you can see it changing as she looks at every person. And it was just kind of perfect. Like, she sees, like, Sansa, and it's kind of like a... Okay, and then and then she sees, like, Arya and Bran, and she's like, oh, these measly little children, you know? And it was cool.
Yeah. And Robert, of course, asks to go pay his respects to the dead in the crypts, and Cersei's like, don't you want to chill out for a second? Yeah. And he just, like, ignores her. And Arya's just, like, real curious about where Tyrion is. Just she keeps asking, where's the imp? Where's the imp? And Cersei obviously hears her and is like, where is our brother, to Jaime? Go find him. Yeah. And then we cut to Ned and Robert in the crypts, which are all lit up. Like, in the books, they're all always dark, but it makes sense that they would have candles here because they need the light for the filming. And they're just walking by all the crypts and talking about the good old days or whatever. Yeah. And then Robert's like, okay, I should have married your sister. That didn't happen. So let's marry our kids instead. And you come down south with me and rule my kingdom for me so that I don't have to. Yeah. And Ned's like, I mean, I'm not worthy of the honor and I don't really want to do it.
And he's like, no, we were meant to rule together. This is meant to be.
Yeah, I kind of bought their camaraderie, like, because they're supposed to be, like, best friends from childhood, so it made sense. Like, it was good. Yeah. And then they just
kind of walk away. And we didn't get to see the crypts, which was like...
No, well, we do get to see it later.
Yeah, but...
They do leave at this point, but then I guess they turned down a different hall to where they were supposed to be heading.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was just weird. I was like, why can't we just...
Yeah, like, why does it have to be so piecemeal? Yeah. Just finish this scene and then go to the next scene.
There was one thing that, like, obviously the show is set in so many different places and there's so many different scenes and cutaways, but it just... I don't know, maybe it's just because it's the pilot, but a lot of them were just really sudden. Like, just some of the cutaways were just not
the
smooth
transitions
at all.
could have been smoother.
Yeah, like that was my biggest complaint with the episode, where like I was just like, this is not smooth at all. Like, it feels very janky.
Yeah, I agree. And I gotta be honest, like, it varies, like, in the upcoming seasons as well. Like, sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really bad. Like, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And you gotta remember, like, the other thing is, a lot of other shows cut away when it's, like, time for a commercial break, but this is HBO. HBO doesn't take commercial breaks. So these cuts don't come after a break, they're just jarring, just as is.
Right.
But we cut to Jaime going to his horse, but then we immediately again cut away to Tyrion. And he's drinking, and he's in a brothel, and he's like ready to maybe he's been there for a while, or I can't tell if he's just got there or has been there for a while. But he's just ready to have like the time of his life. And Jaime interrupts it, and, you know, they have like a little like cheeky back and forth, and Jaime's like, let's hurry this along, and then he gets like a bunch of other sex workers to come in all at the same time, which I guess will get the job done quicker. I don't know. I just feel like, so this show has a tendency for unnecessary nudity, kinda. A little bit. Yeah. Not a little bit, like definitely.
Like a lot.
And I think this was just like their like opportunity to go for it.
Yeah.
But whatever. Tyrion's like, I feel like Peter Dinklage, who plays Tyrion, is a perfect Tyrion. Like, in my head, he is Tyrion, even though he is nowhere as like deformed as he is in the books. Like, he doesn't have different colored eyes or various colored hair or anything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So anyway, Peter Dinklage is Tyrion in my head. So it was nice to meet him. Although it's like, for a man that smart, it's like, I feel like we could have done a different introduction.
Yeah.
But I don't care, really.
Yeah, because we didn't really...
Because I think our introduction to him is that conversation he has with Jon, like in the book.
Exactly. We wouldn't have seen any of that. But...
Yeah. Then we cut back to the crypts, where they finally come upon Lyanna's grave, and there's her like statue there that Robert's talking to, and the whole "why did you have to bury her here?" And that's like, well, she's my sister, this is where she belongs. And Robert like puts like a little feather in her hand as a, I don't know, like a tribute or something. I don't know.
This was like, I don't know, I just couldn't really take this seriously, like in the show. Like in the book, it was a little easier to be like, oh yeah, whatever. But I don't know if it's just like knowing what we know now.
Also, yeah, you are kind of like on the, oh, Lyanna was into Rhaegar, not you, doofus.
But I think it was more just like, because at the time, it really seemed like there was something there with Lyanna, but now it's kind of like, you like maybe saw her and interacted like twice. You know?
Yeah, she was his manic pixie dream girl, for sure.
So, I don't know if it's that, but I don't know. I think also just something about seeing it just with, like, a random statue and no other, like...
It didn't hit for you, yeah.
Because there was no, like, eeriness to it. Like, I wanted an eeriness to the crypts, and the crypts were just like, hey, we have statues downstairs.
Okay, yeah. I think, I don't know how they could have improved it. It is kind of...
I don't know, but I think it just comes down to it's always going to be more magical in your head. Like, when you go from the book to the movie or the show or whatever it is, like, there's always going to be an element of, like, magic that you just can't recreate. But sometimes you can,
right?
You know? So, I don't know. I don't know how they could have, but maybe.
Yeah, but now comes one of the smoother transitions, because Ned's like, don't worry about it, all the Targaryens are dead, and Robert's like, not all of them.
This was nice.
Cut to
this was
Daenerys.
A good thing. This was nice.
Yeah. And she's looking out over a balcony in Pentos.
Gorgeous. And it's like perfect.
And she's kind of what's the, like, reserved a little bit. Like, she's not very outspoken. She's not the kind of person that's like, burn these slavers. Like, she's not there yet, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But she's like extra reserved, and she's just kind of going along with the thing. And Viserys comes in, and he's such a good Viserys too.
He's like perfectly irritating.
Yeah. And he does the gross, like, inspecting her body thing, and it's just, Yeah. And...
You don't want to wake the dragon, do you?
Oh, yeah. He leaves, thank God.
Yeah.
And she gets into the bath, and the servants are like, no, it's too hot. And she just goes ahead and does it anyway, because she's the dragon, bitches. Like...
Yeah.
Imagery or symbolism or something. I don't know.
Whatever it is.
So she gets ready, and then her Viserys and Illyrio, who doesn't look like the Illyrio in the book, he just looks like a respectable magister dude.
Yeah, he, like, it was not giving gross at all. I asked Neva, I was like, who is this? And they were like, Illyrio. I was like, what? Illyrio?
And kudos to him, though, for wearing the brightest color in the entire episode so far, because everybody was like in such dull, kind of like grayish tones.
Yeah.
Anyway, so at this point, I paused the episode and turned to Harmat and was like, "Who did you think? Like, who did?" So I got her to cast who did you cast as Khal Drogo? And she says to me, Jason Momoa, and I'm like, okay.
No.
Cool.
Like, Nev was like,
no expression.
No. Nev was like, and why would you do that?
Oh, yeah, I did say that.
And I was like, that's kind of a weird thing to say, but I didn't, like, because that's not something that you say. It was, like, weirdly formal for the moment. That's something you would say on the podcast, not, like, to me. So I was like, okay, but I didn't think too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Jason Momoa.
What did you say to me? I think you were just like, it was the vibes.
Yeah, because then Nev was like, why would you do that? And I was like, you know what? I don't actually know why I did that. Because the thing was, okay, so I casted a lot of characters. And by the end of, and I did it all in one go. Like, I sat there, and it took me several hours, and I sat there, and I just kind of was like, what's going on,
God.
You know? Hey, just because it took me several hours doesn't mean I did a good job. Took me several hours. I will explain later why. But it took me several hours. So Jason Momoa was near the end, or Khal Drogo was near the end. And by the end, I left Harmat overthinking land and being like, oh, this is how the character arc of previous characters they've played matches up. This is how their facial expression, and it just went into vibes. And I was like, who in Hollywood has a Khal Drogo vibe? And the only person that came to my head was Jason Momoa. And that was it. I was like, I just think that he has that vibe. And I have no idea before this, I had no idea what he's acted in. All I knew is that he was a name in Hollywood, and he was very much, and I'd seen a couple interviews with him. I don't remember the content of the interviews, but during COVID, I'd watched a couple interviews with him. So that's the only context I have for him. And I was like, oh, he seems funny. And like physically, he matches up. So... It was him.
Yeah. So I press play, and then he pulls up.
With eyeliner!
Daddy goes up to him. Yeah, and then I pause again, and I turn to Harmat, and I'm like, that's Jason Momoa. It was a good moment. I don't know.
Yeah,
it was a fun.
That was the only casting I got right, guys.
Yeah, because you cast everybody else as 80-year-olds.
It's fine.
We'll get to that.
It was nice and satisfying. It was nice to get one. But yeah, him with eyeliner, slay.
He totally embodies the Khal Drogo look. So him and his guys like come up, and like he looks at Dany, then he just like rides away, and Illyrio's like, I guess he's happy, because if he weren't, we would know. I guess.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Yeah. Then they're like just like talking like afterwards, and Illyrio's kind of pumping Viserys up like, oh, people await your return, and they pray for your well-being and all of that stuff, and Khal Drogo's army can get you there and all of that. And okay, Daenerys is like,
or sorry, before that, there was a moment. I understand why they didn't do this, but it would have been cool because he was like, they cry out for their king, and it would have been so cool if like they cry out for their king and then there's cutaway to them screaming and having a great time. Like that would have been beautiful. But
if it were a comedy, then they would have definitely done that. But they're a serious show. They don't do that kind of stuff.
Okay, whatever. It would have been funny.
I know, it would have been funny. So Daenerys speaks out and is like, I don't want to be this guy's queen.
Mm-hmm.
And Viserys is like, what did you say? You speak? I didn't know you spoke. Like, you know, he's just being real mean about it. And she's like, I just want to go home. And he's like, how are we going to go home if you don't do this? And then he says his ever famous, infamous line of, I would let his whole tribe fuck you. All men and 40,000 horses, if that's what it took to get my throne back. And that's great. Love that.
Yeah.
It's just as horrible as it was in the book.
Yeah. Yeah. From
one girl.
She acted it really well. Like because she.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Emilia
it's
Clarke.
like she can't like react intensely because it's Viserys. But it's like, obviously she has to react because that's kind of... I would like to think that's one of the more fucked up things he said to her. So...
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
Yeah, so it just... Yeah, I felt really bad. I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we cut away from one girl not wanting to be queen to another girl who definitely wants to be queen and is eager to marry Joffrey. Oh, Sansa.
She looks so much like Catelyn.
Yeah. And so they're just like talking about like, oh, when's the wedding gonna happen? And Catelyn's like, your dad, he hasn't even said yes. And Sansa's like, please make him say yes. It's the only thing I ever wanted.
Oh, Sansa.
Yeah.
Man.
So that's a horrible little scene with all the context we know. Yeah. But, like, it's sweet in the moment. It's, like, cute. They're, like, Catelyn's doing her hair. Yeah.
It's, like...
And,
I mean, it's a... Yeah. If we don't think about what we know, it's a little empowering. Because it's, like, she's, like...
Yeah, I think in the moment, it's, like, oh, my God, this...
Yeah.
They're so cute. Yeah. But then... Yeah, but we can't get rid of all the context in our head because that's how heads work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, cut to the party that night, and Robert is drinking and making out with other people, and Cersei just has to, like, sit up there and pretend she can't see it. And, like, Catelyn's next to her, just, like, so uncomfortable. And, outside... Jon has been not allowed into the feast. In the book, it was that he wasn't allowed up on the dais, but he could sit, like, at one of the other tables. But in this, they were just like, he's just not allowed in the feast because that would be offensive to the king.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, he wasn't in the lineup when they greeted the king. I didn't even think about that.
He wasn't, yeah.
No. Maybe he was, like, way in the back somewhere. Anyway, so he's out there just beating... like a dummy, just like, you know, just doing some sword practice, I think. And Benjen rides in, and they have like a cute, like, oh, hey, uncle, hey, kid. Yeah. And this is, reminder, this is probably the only true relationship Jon ever, because like Ned is also technically his uncle, but he thinks Ned's his dad. Benjen, no matter what, is his uncle.
Yeah,
like, you know?
True. This is the only true... Yeah, true. That's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Anyway, and at this point I remarked how the guy you cast for Jon looks like Benjen.
Oh, well, it's fine.
Not like Jon at all.
It's okay. It's because I genuinely think that when Jon grows up, he's gonna look like Benjen, so that kind of makes sense to me.
I guess so. Yeah. Okay, so they're having, like, the, you know, I'm not allowed. Yeah. And Benjen's like, well, you should come join the wall.
And he's like, can I do that now?
Jokingly. Yeah.
He's like, let's do that.
John gets real serious. Yeah.
And this was like...
And they have the...
Yeah, as he got more serious, okay, at this point I was like over like him being hot and I could actually think about the acting choices. Like, no, like this is a good thing, right? And so like, it just like, the aggression that the aggression / passion was just there. It was like he was like, no, like take me now, like yes. And you could just see like all the years of just him being like, I need a thing. Like, you know, like his whole speech in the book of like, you know, Rob's gonna get Winterfell, Bran's gonna go off and do this, he's gonna get like a neighboring town, or like, you know, something, like his whole thing of like, what am I gonna do? And he had the emo eyes, and I just needed that. The emo eyes were just perfect.
If anything, I think John is more emo in the show than in the books.
I agree. Like, the emo eyes just pull through.
Yeah, so Benjamin's like, I gotta go get inside. I'll talk to you later. And then Tyrion enters the scene and is like, hey, what you up to? And John's like, yeah, you're the queen's brother, aren't you? And Tyrion's like, yeah, and you're Ned's bastard, aren't you? And it's the whole thing, like, John gets offended and Tyrion's like, you gotta wear that as armor, like, don't let people hurt you with stuff that they know about you, I guess. I don't know.
Like, the world's not gonna forget it. Don't forget what you are.
Yeah. He does the, like, Lord Stark is my father and Lady Stark is not your mother. Like, I like that a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like their dynamic. Tyrion does not do a flip off of a wall in this because he did that in the book. Yeah. So he also goes off to the feast, I guess. And John's just left to be on his own. And there's nobody else is in the yard. Like, no servants, no nothing. Like,
yeah,
it's a weird vibe. Anyway, inside, Benjen and Ned meet up. And they're doing the whole, like, oh.
Hey, brother.
There's that deserter. He was a good guy. But, like, who knows what's up? And who knows what will be up? Because winter is coming.
Please. I can't. That's just how Starks greet each other. There's no hi, hello, how are you? It's like, hey, winter's coming? Winter's coming.
Yeah, and then we cut to Catelyn and Cersei trying to make
beautiful
conversation.
This was beautiful in the worst way.
So Catelyn's like, oh, it's your first time up north, and Cersei's like, yeah, it's so beautiful.
No, she's like,
up here.
Yes, lovely country. And then she makes a face, and it was just beautiful.
In, like, a disdainful voice, yeah.
And at this point, Nev had remarked, we were talking about, oh, they look so happy, and then it goes to shit, because we were talking about how, oh, this is, like, the only time that Benjen and Ned interact, you know? And then Nev said everything...
And we didn't even get that interaction in the book.
Yeah, we didn't. And then Nev says, then everything goes to winter hell. And it was...
I forgot I said that.
And it was beautiful in the worst way. So, yeah.
Oh, I can be so clever sometimes that I out-clever my present self.
Please.
Anyway. So Cersei calls over Sansa, who's, like, real excited. Because,
she's meeting
this is
the
her
queen.
Future mother-in-law as well. And Cersei's like, oh, hey, little pretty girl, how old are you? And you're tall and still growing. And then she asks her whether she's bled yet, which is, like, a real, like, straightforward question for a dinner table.
Yeah, you just met, like, a minute ago. Like, what's happening?
Yeah. And Sansa, like, looks to her mom and is like, what do I do here? And she's like, no, Your Grace. And Cersei tries to be like, oh, okay, well, that's a pretty dress. You'll have to make me something.
And Sansa's, like, satisfied. She's gotten her compliment fill for the day.
Yeah, so she leaves. And, Catelyn and Cersei have a little, like, we might share a grandchild someday thing.
This is so awkward in the best way.
Yeah, and then Sansa and, like, Joffrey are kind of making eyes, and it's like, I want to throw up all over again.
Yeah.
And then Ned and Jamie run into each other.
Oh my god.
And Jamie's like, I hear we're going to be neighbors soon. It'll be nice to have somebody else to fight in the tourneys because the competition's getting a little stale. And Ned's like, I don't do tourneys. And Jamie's like, oh, you're too scared? Or what does he say? Getting a little old for it. And Ned's like, I don't fight in tournaments because when I fight my enemies for real, I don't want them to know what I can do.
Well, clearly which is like didn't fucking work out for you, Ned.
It didn't, but that was a nice sassy line that
It was beautiful.
He did not have in the books.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I love seeing them interact. I hope that eventually, in 50 years from now, when I finally get to watch this for real, when we get to the point of like, Jamie being Ned, like I want those flashbacks of like the throne room and them like their previous interactions like I just like seeing them interact because they're both so different and they both don't like each other, but they're both so entertaining that I just like seeing them interact.
Yeah, it was a good interaction. So now Arya is like, time to cause some trouble and throw some food at Sansa. Please. And you were like so offended on Sansa's behalf too.
Was I?
Yeah, you were like, oh, you like did a whole big gasp.
That's so funny. Yeah, because I think I was just like, oh my god, no, like she's like making eyes.
Not the pretty dress she got complimented on.
Exactly. Like, come on.
And Sansa Catelyn looks over to Rob and is like, take care of your siblings, dude. And Rob gets up because like first he's just laughing at it because it's a funny thing,
and then
then he like gets,
come on, dude.
Yeah, he has to go get Arya and put her to bed.
This child is gonna be king and then is gonna die as king.
Yeah, and it's also so cute him like being like, okay, off to bed with you. Yeah, it's
man, I hate George R.R. Martin, worst author on the planet. Disgusting. Get lost.
It is really sad, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's it for the feast. And now we're in Catelyn and Ned's room, and they're talking about, whether Ned's gonna say yes to the king. And Catelyn is very against it. Like throughout this episode, she is telling him to say no, which is quite different from what she said in the book, because she was like the political minded one. She was like, you gotta do it, and it's like this and that.
Exactly. Yeah. She was like, you can't say no for an offer of marriage from the king. Like, you can't, like, you're gonna fucking die. Like, what are you doing? And here she's like, I don't want you to leave. Yeah.
And in the show, they like, you know what? We don't know this yet, so I'm not gonna say it yet.
No, can you just say it, please?
No,
please,
well,
please.
They lean like even more into the motherly thing with her.
Okay.
Like in the book, she's like obviously like the mother to her children, but she's also like a political entity. Right. In the book, she's more of a mother than she is a political mind.
That sucks. Because she was one of the few characters.
Or though I could be misremembering it, but that's what
if that's what it is. That sucks. Because she's one of the few women we get to actually see in that empowering way, where she's like doing her own shit, and then like what I mean. Like she's going around traveling, making deals, doing all this shit, and it's like to take that away from her just feels
or
like
I could be
choice.
Misremembering it, but I think I'm remembering vibes more than like specific details.
Okay, well, hopefully that's not it then.
Yeah. Anyway, I shouldn't have said it.
No, it's okay.
It doesn't
matter.
Fine.
I'm not gonna. You think I'm gonna remember this like 2 minutes from now? It's fine.
Yeah. So Maester Aemon interrupts them, and he has come with the letter from Catelyn's sister. Which in the book was like this whole like secret code thing, and they like skipped it, which I was like totally fine with. And Catelyn reads it, and she immediately burns it and is like, "Oh my god, my sister tells me that her husband was murdered, and that it was the Lannisters." Wait, does she actually say?
Yeah,
that?
She does.
Hang on. Jon Arryn was murdered by the Lannisters. Yeah, and that she's fled the capital. And that's like she's like freshly widowed, like maybe she doesn't know what she's talking about. And Catelyn's like, Yeah, but this letter could mean her death. So yeah, like this is quite a risk to take for just like a suspicion as opposed to like a certainty, you know?
Little did we know.
Yeah. And Maester Lewin is like, dude, you gotta go with the king and figure this out. He has no loyal men left. And Catelyn's doing the whole like, I don't want him to go. And
you can't keep fighting his battles. You've been doing that your whole life.
Yeah, and your father and your brother rode down to
oh my God.
down south once, and they never came back. And that's like, obviously, you're never coming back either.
At least someone says it.
Yeah. So, cut to Dany's wedding with Khal Drogo. Not that she's at any other weddings, but you know. And they're, you know, there's music and stuff, and people are like fight dancing, sexing, the whole thing.
Please.
And they're being brought like, it's like I didn't like the show, like really leaned into like the Dothraki are savages kind of deal, because they're showing this meat and stuff, and like to me all meat looks the same, and there's like flies on it, but you get the sense that they're trying to be like, look at what gross food they eat and look at what gross gifts they get, because there's like snakes and shit, and
right,
you know,
yeah,
I don't like it. And I know the like a lot of it exists in the book as well, so I'm just saying that they had the opportunity to improve on the book and they did not choose to take it. So yeah, people are fighting and killing each other, and everybody's real happy about it because you know, a Dothraki wedding without at least 3 deaths is a dull affair. And Daenerys is just sitting there like, oh, I don't like this. And finally Jorah comes up. What did you think of Jorah?
Weird, like creepy, in a creepy, like the perfect amount of creepy, like the way he was even when he's like walking up with the books, even the way he's looking at her, it's giving he's undressing her, and it's like,
really,
it was creepy, and I hated it.
I also think like your whole like your view is
tainted now,
sullied
by I can't just
like
see it
what
as
you know
what
now, because I don't think I saw him as gross until like he started being gross.
Okay.
Like at this point I was like, oh, it's somebody who speaks her language given her books. Like I like books, you know?
I know. I just, his subtleties.
No, I'm just telling you what I thought of it.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, just like, because he walked up, like just the way he walked up very slowly and like weirdly intentionally. And I feel like just the way his approach just made me think that.
Yeah, and he's also trying to butter up Viserys by being like, I hope to serve the rightful king and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. And he speaks Dothraki, so he like from now on just becomes like the default translator, I guess. Yeah. So he gives her some of these books, which is what he also does in the books. He gives her books in the books. Oh my god, too many book words. Mots, note that down. He mentioned something in the spoilers channel today about a sentence containing too many books in the same sentence.
Was it something you...
And now it's coming back to me.
Was it something you'd said?
No, it's like from the books.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, then Illyrio brings a casket and it's the dragon's eggs. And what did you think of the eggs? Did they look dragony to you?
They didn't look dragony, but they were a good amount of, like, you could tell there was something magical about them, and I was okay with that.
Okay. Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah. Like, they're good props. Not everybody, but a bunch of people have, like, replicas just in their house hanging out now because they're so popular.
That's so sweet.
And does the whole thing, like...
maybe global warming will crack them and we'll all get dragons.
Yeah, well, he says they've been turned to stone, but they're still pretty to look at, so here you go. And then Drogo gets up and just, like, waits for Daenerys to catch on, like, it's time to go now. And he leads her to the silver horse that he gifts her, and, you know, she's like, it's pretty. And how do you say thank you, Sir Jorah? And Jorah's like, there is no word for thank you in Dothraki, which I guess.
Interesting.
But also there's this weird scene of like everybody kind of like converging on her.
That was
just
terrifying.
Like, kind of, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And they get on the horses and Viserys is like, make him happy, as if like, you know, he hadn't been gross enough already.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ride off into the sunset, kind of literally. Like,
yeah.
It's okay. So, folks, I once upon a time wrote a paper analyzing the male gaze in this episode. Mm-hmm. And this was one of the major scenes. Because, okay, let's talk about the scene and then I'll talk about the thoughts. Okay. So they get there and Daenerys is like looking off into the distance and she is clearly uncomfortable and she doesn't want, she starts crying, like literally crying. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want this to happen. And Drogo just keeps on saying no and straight up rapes her. Mm-hmm. Like in the book, it's like a dubious consent. This is just like consent has not even like no consent exists on this page, like at all. And it's real gross. And I hate the way that it's like the scene is romanticized with like the sunset in the back. It's so ugh. Yeah. Now I've read like opinions of people being like, oh, this was like straight up rape so that they could like better show her like character development later. But why does she have to get assaulted for her to develop as a character is all I'm saying.
She's had enough trauma. There's a lot to pull from.
As if all of the conversations with her brother weren't enough. Like, this was gross.
Even with the, like, kind of consent, it was, like, yes, she grew to love him, but it was still, like, still could have had an impact.
That was still real problematic.
Like, it was still enough to have an impact, if that's really your argument, you know? Like...
Yeah, just, like, I don't want to do this, but I'm choosing to do it because...
It's, like...
Not because it's the only choice I have.
It's like a weird, like, this is happening and, like, yes, it shouldn't be happening, but I have to make myself okay with it to mentally live through this.
Yeah, like, it was horrible then, and we talked,
it was horrible,
like, we
but there was a certain
it.
level of, like, I don't want to use the word empowerment, but there was, I guess in a way there was, because she was like, okay, you know what, like, I'm gonna get
there
through
was
this.
A little bit more agency in it than in this scene, because she's literally crying and he does not give a fuck what her feelings are. And I think, like, in the book he's like, he waits until she's ready, like, she's upset, but then he says, and then she finally, like, says yes, which is like a dubious yes, but she does say it, and then that's when they have sex. Here he does not give a fuck. And it's like, it's just as, if not more gross. It's just horrible, and I did not like it. And, it also makes it harder to be like, how is their relationship going to develop into a potential, like, we like each other thing? You know?
It's weird.
If this is how it started.
Yeah, it's weird.
So... yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of, like, feelings, but not a lot of thoughts that I have about the scene.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just have all the feelings. Yeah, but I particularly hated the framing of the scene with all the, like, romantic background and, like, it's a seaside wedding kind of thing. Like, gross. Fuck off with that. Okay, let's move on. So we cut to Tyrion being hungover and the Hound being hungover together, and you weren't impressed by the Hound at all. You were like, he's not scary looking at all.
I was like, that's the Hound. I was like, who's that? Like, I literally was like, who is that? Like, it was giving like another Theon more than the Hound, you know? Like, yeah. I think
I think he'll grow on you. I think there's more to him than you see in this one tiny scene. So they're getting ready to go hunting. Now, this is the big hunting thing that Robert and everybody goes on. Bran's watching them leave, and, like, Ned kind of, like, nods to him, and I was like, that's the last time they're going to interact while both of them are conscious. So they leave, and Bran's like, okay, time to go climb a tower. And he goes and climbs the broken tower. I get they don't call it the broken tower, but we know that's what it is. Bran hears some noises coming from inside. Bro. And he pulls up to the window to find Jaime and Cersei having sex. They cut the whole part where they're having the conversation, dubious conversation. Mm-hmm. They had most of it in King's Landing. Yeah. But they're having sex, and Cersei looks up and sees him and is like, oh my fucking god, he saw us. And Bran tries to get away, but Jaime goes and grabs him. And Cersei's just like, he saw us. And Jaime's like, I heard you the first time, calm down. And they do the how old are you, boy, all of that stuff. And then he lets him go for a second, and then he turns to look at Cersei, and then he says, the things I do for love, push. And then just casually pushes Bran off the window. And then we get this scene where the camera is underneath Bran as he's falling, and then he flops onto the camera, and then credits. That's the yep. That transition was smooth. Yeah. So that's the first episode of the show that was such a global phenomena that yeah. What did you think? I mean, I enjoyed it. I think I don't think I would have enjoyed it not having read the books, because I think now it was I could not ignore, but I could I already knew all the traumatic stuff that happened, so I could just appreciate the casting, the vibes, the prettiness, I could just be oh, without being shell-shocked when bad things happened, because it was kind of okay, I knew that was gonna happen. Sucks to see it, but seeing it a second time, you can kind of appreciate oh, there was that setup or something. So I enjoyed it. Yeah, I was trying to think back to, so I watched the show before I read the books, and trying to think back to whether the first episode gave me enough context to know what was going on. I don't think it would have. No, and here's what happened. So I watched the first episode and I didn't know what was going on, and to find out what was going on, I immediately watched the next few episodes. And then by the time I was through half of season 1, I finally got what was going on. So yeah, I think it definitely helps to know what's going on in the books to keep track of this. Can't say that's the same case for the rest of the seasons, because there will be times but that didn't happen. It's like this. Yeah. It makes it harder to enjoy the show knowing what happens in the books, because it veers so left, but also in a way that isn't an improvement. There's some times where it's an improvement, but most of the times where it's not an improvement. Yeah. So when you were watching, because you said that season 1 stays true to book 1, then it pretty much shit. There's slight differences. Okay, then all shit blows up. Well, it's more gradual than just whatever. Season 2, there's certain storylines that are pretty accurate, but then other ones that are what are you doing here? And then it just gets worse and worse. Yeah, and then the showrunners decided that they wanted to make this show once they read The Red Wedding. That's when they fucking... Yeah, they were this is the best thing ever. We're going to blow people's minds. So that kind of tells you on they focus on the big dramatic things, as opposed to a lot of the emotional character things a lot of the time, war, which really sucks for the show. Yeah. They want to go for the shock factor as opposed to you should have seen the Red Wedding coming, because all the clues were there. You just didn't want to see it because you don't want to see it, Instead, they're we just want to shock the pants off of you. I don't know, my pants, shirts, hats off of you. I don't know. Because you said the Red Wedding, it kind of came out of nowhere in the show, just for the sake of the shock factor. Not necessarily, but their focus is on things like the Red Wedding as opposed to the things like the characters. Okay. I don't like that. It wasn't the surprise so much as the spectacle. They're all about the spectacle as opposed to the characters. Yeah, so, like, when I was watching the show, I thought it was the greatest thing. Not the greatest thing, like a great thing.
Okay.
Because it was all new to me.
Right.
But then after I read the books, I was like, oh yeah,
That would have been
they
a much
really
better
did
way
not.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And even if you hadn't read the books, though, the last few seasons, like the last 2 seasons especially, were so bad that you didn't even have to have read the books to know that they were bad.
How many seasons are there?
8.
8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they ran out of books like midway through season 5.
Oh, so they just started making up their own stories, which is why it got terrible.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And since they weren't focusing on the characters at all, the stories they were making up weren't true to the characters, so fans hated them.
Yeah. That's actually such an accurate analysis for somebody who has never seen the rest of the show.
That makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna note that down.
Like, I don't want it to, like, cloud your judgment too much, but, like...
Yeah, but you said, like, you still kept watching and you still enjoyed just the series overall. Like, even just watching the shows, or just the show, you still really enjoyed it, so...
Yeah, I can't say I really enjoyed the last couple seasons.
Fine.
I think at that point I was just watching because
You were like, I've watched 6 seasons, like, come on, yeah.
Exactly. Like, there were good points in the last couple seasons. Like, there were some good moments, but not, like, overall. It wasn't like, yeah. Oh, we were actually, like, quite efficient at talking about that. I thought we would be at it for, like, hours.
I'm glad we were not at it for hours.
No, I think we did it, like, justice.
We covered everything.
It just really helped that we've also talked about everything once previously.
That's the thing. If we were watching the show for the first, like, we would have been a lot more, but since it's, like, we don't have to do as much of a, like, plot analysis, since it's pretty true to the plot, we can just kind of be like, oh, this was different, or it was interesting that they added this, or it's cool to remember this, you know?
Yeah. And for if we do something in the future, if y'all want to see, like, us talk about a specific type, like, aspect or something more in regards to the show, let us know. We'll keep that in mind for the future. But like I said, we don't have any plans to cover further episodes right now. So Harmat is mad about that because she really wants to see the show. But
right now, I'm glaring.
But I think.
Do you guys want to?
Everybody would benefit.
Do you guys want us to cover the rest of the show? And if so, and if not, why and when? I'm not saying we're going to do it if you tell us to, but I just want people's opinions.
I guess we don't have any predictions to talk about. Unless you want to talk about, like, what might vary in coming up in the first season.
I think Ned's death might be different.
How?
Like, there might be... I feel like it might be more sudden with less setup.
Okay. Because, like I said, the thing about them focusing on the Red Wedding.
No, I think just because, like, I feel like with the... Like, you know how we had him, like, we had him slowly get captured, and then we had, like, eventually Varys went to visit him, and then eventually we had the trial, and then at the trial, like, it was going okay, and he confessed, and then Joffrey was like, actually, let's do this. I feel like there might be less of that. Like, maybe he gets to make his case less. Maybe we have less of, like, Varys being like, if you want to survive, you know? So I feel like we might just have less of that characterization and, like, less of that development of him actually being, like, doing it for my girls.
Okay, fair enough.
And then...
Anything else before you want to talk about your castings?
I think the scene with Catelyn and Jon, like, the last time they see each other, as far as we... Oh, wait, Catelyn's dead, so it is the last time they see each other. That's so sad! Because they never got to... You know...
Make amends, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, well, love that. Yay. Catelyn.
So that like scene where she's incredibly cruel to him and is like, you should have been the one to die.
I think that's gonna be worse.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Because you said emo John is more intense, so...
It's also just Kit Harington's face.
Yeah.
folks, I asked her for her castings before we watched, and she was like, I'll give you 5. So I asked for like the Starks or something. And every person she gave me was like 70-year-old. And I was like, this is supposed to be a child. What are you doing?
They're aged up in my head.
So what I thought when she was doing castings was that she would actually like
try to guess them for real.
Yeah, but you were just like, this is who it is in my head.
Yeah, exactly. Why would I do realistic when I could give you my vibes? Like,
okay, you're gonna tell me who's who. Go through your list, and I'm gonna Google the people so that I can know who you're talking.
Sounds good. Okay, so this list is a little bit all over the place in terms of like,
and you probably casted people that weren't in this episode. So
yes.
Okay, so give me your names.
So we'll start with the Starks. A lot of them were based off of the characters that these actors played. There were a few of them that I don't even know what they've acted in. I just know their name and I know what they look like. And I was like, that's who I'm casting just for the look. And then, but most of them were like, oh, they've either played a similar character or they've played characters where an event happened to them that also happened to Arya or Sansa. Ned is Henry Fonda.
I think like a younger Henry Fonda could be a Ned. Like also an alive Henry Fonda who didn't die 40 years ago.
It's fine. Because I just remember him from 12 Angry Men and he was like the only rational dude. So that was it.
But Sean Bean is such a perfect
really
Ned.
good.
Do you know why? Because he's kind of known for dying in the things he's in.
Stop. I hate that. That makes me so mad. Yeah. Catelyn, I have 2 people because I want the facial expressions of Kristen Stewart, but I want the voice and dynamics of Meghan Markle.
Okay, I can see that. So
yeah, because she kind of has that like I can stand my ground shit that Catelyn has going on, but I like Kristen Stewart's subtleties are how I imagine Catelyn's pained expressions. Like, you know, because Kristen Stewart, I've just seen her in Twilight. And so...
Oh, you haven't seen her act well,
Well,
though.
that's fine. But that's fine. I don't care. I don't care about the actual actors. Because it's just her expressions where she constantly looks like she's in pain. That, to me, embodies Catelyn. And then Rob, we have Chris Evans. Because that, to me, is the most straightforward one of mine.
Okay, all right, Chris Evans, next.
John is Christian Bale. Because, I mean, like, the family trauma adds up, and they kind of, like, when I was picturing what John looked like in my head, Christian Bale was what I was kind of picturing. Christian Bale with facial hair was what I was picturing.
But younger,
yes,
hopefully.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, all of these actors, just age them down, age them up accordingly. I told you, it has nothing to do with their physical description.
You just gotta play some, like, mental...
roulette. Yeah, you just gotta. But the family trauma with, like, the whole Batman thing just really adds up for me. Like, it just works. Okay, Sansa is Judy Garland from, like, Dorothy. And it just, I always have, we're not in Oz anymore when Sansa gets to King's Landing. Like, to me, that, the parallel.
Mean Kansas anymore?
Sorry, yes, we're not in, well, yeah, because they're in Oz. Sorry, yeah, yes, we're not in Kansas anymore. Fuck. That's like, oh my god, okay, this is totally off guard. Totally off the rails. I had a very similar thing like that happen because I've only watched the first half of the first Star Wars movie. I think it's number 4 now, but the first Star Wars movie that came out. So that movie, I've only watched the first half. And so I remember one time I was like tutoring someone and I was trying to like motivate them about something. And I was like, or something, I was saying something. And what I accidentally ended up saying to them was, you know, when Luke says, when the guy in Star Wars says, Luke, you're not my father. And I said, and the person was a Star Wars fan, and that's why I was using that voice.
No.
And they looked at me like I was bonkers. And then they were like, Harmat, like, Luke, like, you know, and then they correct, and I was like, oh shit, I really messed up the one thing I thought I knew about Star Wars. So,
you're not my father.
Luke, you're not my father. So that's the thing of like, we're not in Oz anymore.
That's so funny.
Yeah, we're not in Oz anymore. Yeah, so yeah, anyway, yeah, I don't know Star Wars. So Sansa is Judy Garland, just because it kind of adds up for me. Not physically, because she's not a redhead as far as I'm aware. Okay, and then Arya And then Arya is Scarlett Johansson in Black Widow.
Just because she got the moves.
And that's what I wanted. Because, okay, I did that one before I knew she died. So Bran is the kid from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Zachary Gordon. Because he has a lot of middle child energy.
Yeah, you know what? I get that.
He's like the only actual kid that I cast. Yeah,
but he's not a kid anymore.
That's fine. But what I know him from was when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And then Rickon is Luke from Jesse, but like depressed.
Cameron Boyce, who passed away a few years ago. Okay, cool.
And then
I can see that.
And then Benjen, the character Steven from That 70s Show, and his actor name is Daniel Masterson.
Oh, he's like a total redhead.
Yeah, just because of the looks. It was giving, because he had like a pre-glow up and a post-glow up.
Yeah,
and
but
it was giving
the Starks aren't red.
I know, it's fine. Sansa's a redhead. It's fine.
All right, okay, Uncle Benjen, next.
Okay, and then Maester Luwin is Robin Williams in Dead Poets Society.
Oh yeah, he's got like a maesterly vibe. Okay.
He was like an English teacher in that movie, and
Maester Luwin's the teacher,
it's just kind of like, and you know when he comforts Bran about everything, and he's like, I know you can't climb, but you know, so his character of like just motivating the people around him kind of vibes. And then Old Man is Maggie Smith.
Okay, though, but isn't Maggie Smith Olenna Tyrell?
Yes, but I also have someone else for that. That might have been better,
because literally when like Olenna Tyrell like came into the picture, everybody was Maggie Smith. That's gotta be Maggie Smith, because like it's exactly Maggie Smith's character in Downton Abbey.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen that. And then Hodor is Jim Carrey from Elf. Mira, like Reed, is Swaris Ronan from Little Women.
Saoirse Ronan?
Is that how you say her name? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've never heard her name said ever, so...
That's okay.
That's just the energy she exudes for me.
I think that fits perfectly.
Cool. Slay.
Yeah.
And then, this one's a little weird, bear with me. Jojen gives Timothy Chalamet.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool.
I see that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the look and just like, first of all, Timothy Chalamet, the vibes, and Timothy Chalamet can also just act anything, so I feel like I could have plugged him anywhere and it would have worked. And it's just like the weirdness just matches up in like the beautiful way. Okay. And then Holland Reed is Eddie Redmayne.
I mean, we have never seen him in the book either, so who knows?
It's fine, but I envision him as Eddie Redmayne.
But Eddie Redmayne's so tall, and the Reeds were supposed to be so short.
Remember, this is not physical vibes. This is spiritual, emotional, whatever you want to call it. Soul vibes.
All right. Okay.
They have the same soul. You know, frogs, animals. It matches up. It's fine.
All right.
Okay. Liana. This is what I have written for her. I'm going to read it exactly. Looks like a cookie. Could kill you. I don't know why I chose cookie. I did this like a week ago. I can't remember the reasoning behind it. Anyway,
okay.
I think it's Anne Hathaway.
Oh, yeah. I see that.
Right? Because it's like she's powerful, but she's also like stunning. And just like she can be as charming as she wants, but she can also be as like, no, shut up and listen as she wants, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, icon. And then
that's a good one.
Thank you. And then Brandon Stark is John Travolta, which is the main guy from Grease.
Yeah, okay, I see that. Yeah, because he's like
boy
kind of like a
yeah. It was solely based off of the fuckboy vibes. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Sir Roderick is Alfred, Batman's butler, and Michael Caine.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I see that too.
Yeah. Tyrion is Tim Curry. Just for the looks. I have no idea what that man has acted in or who he is. Just the looks. He's Tyrion in my mind. Cersei, this one I think is so funny. And I hope that you think it's funny too, but it's okay if you don't.
Okay.
I think Cersei is Lea Michele.
I'm sorry, who's Lea Michele?
She's the girl from Glee that everyone hates.
Lea Michele.
Like,
I also haven't watched Glee.
That's okay.
Okay, yeah, that like I just got a picture like blonde hair, but yeah, it's got Cersei vibes.
Yeah, she's gorgeous And this is for anyone who has watched Glee. I'm talking Lea Michele in later seasons when she's no longer in high school, when she's like in New York. Like, it's pretty much she gets away with anything she wants just because she's pretty and talented.
Okay.
And that gives Cersei. And just the way that she like talks down to people. Tywin is okay. So this is from the Hunger Games. He's a hybrid of like Snow from the Hunger Games. And Plutarch Heavensby.
I think I see that. I did see Tywin as more like angular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
fair.
But
no, I can see like the vibes because they're like evil geniuses.
Mm-hmm. So yes. Joffrey, you're gonna laugh at this and you're gonna think it's
all
ridiculous. Right. Okay. Joffrey is Leonardo DiCaprio.
At like from like which, like what age? Like 13. Was Leonardo DiCaprio acting at age 13?
I haven't seen him in a lot of things. Like, I'm not really like a Leo stan. But the youngest thing I've seen him in is when he was in Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, yeah.
Because...
you know what? I see that.
Yeah, because it's like...
Kind of got the douchebag energy.
Exactly. It's like, you're like, wow, he's so pretty. How could he ever be not great? And then it's like, well, he only dates girls under 25. So... It's like a little, it's like you don't see the red flags until you're in too deep, and that's Joffrey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Marcella, I think this one's funny, is Mila, I don't know how to say her name. Mila Kunis from,
oh yeah.
I only know her from That 70s Show, but her voice is how I imagine Marcella sounds.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Marcella and Tommen have like a brief shot in the show, same scene, where everybody's like coming in. But they're just, like, two kids.
Yeah, there's no distinctness. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tommen is Draco Malfoy? Tom Felton?
If anything, Draco should be Joffrey.
I know, but I thought, I don't know, that just felt too on the nose, so I just didn't do it. Like,
okay, but Tommen's like a little sweet boy. He's like a little chubby but he's
and still like a little spoiled and like gorgeous and blonde, you know?
I guess, yeah.
And then Kevin Lannister is Bradley Cooper, because I think they both have a creepy smile.
Okay.
And just...
Wait, I didn't know Kevin had a creepy smile.
I think Kevin has a creepy smile. I don't know if he actually does.
Okay.
I don't know if it's ever been described, but in my mind he has a creepy smile. And then his son, I forget his name. You know his son who was with Cersei and is now in a coma?
Lancel.
Lancel, yes. To me, he's Zac Efron.
Okay.
Because it's like
I want to know who you cast as Jamie.
Don't worry, we'll get there.
Okay. Oh, he's not actually in a coma. He's just badly hurt.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, okay, cool. So now Jaime Lannister is, I don't think you're gonna approve of this, but I think it's brilliant. Okay. Jaime Lannister is Heath Ledger in 10 Things I Hate About You. He's the guy who also did Joker after. Because he has the charm down.
What? Jamie's so much prettier than him.
No! He's stunning! Jamie's not prettier than him. He has, like,
I guess we just have a different type of...
Yeah, I think he's different in our heads, so it manifests differently when we look at people.
No, but okay, you know what? I just pulled up this photo and I can see that because he's got kind of that smirk down that you were just talking about.
And he's like,
okay.
And in a lot of things, I mean, other than the Joker, because Joker's kind of its own thing, but like in other things I've seen him in, like 10 Things I Hate About You and stuff, he's very much got that like bad boy vibe, but like bad boy but good person. Okay. And it's giving Jamie. And another reason why I cast Jamie as Heath Ledger is that in the movie 10 Things I Hate About You, Julia Stiles, whose character name is Kat Stratford, she is who I cast as Brienne. And so they're together in that movie, so it's kind of like a little, like, maybe we can continue the theme. But also, like, I do think...
This is all about your ship,
No, a little bit. But I also think the characterization works. Okay, Gregor Clegane...
The Mountain.
Yes, is Channing Tatum. Because they both have the resting bitch face that I envision.
Okay. But Channing Tatum is not nearly large enough.
Okay, I don't know very many actors large enough, okay, to be Gregor Clegane.
Fair enough.
Who do I, like, no.
I guess. You know what? I can see it. I see it. All right.
And then Sandor Clegane is Johnny Depp in my mind.
That one I can't see. I gotta be honest.
I just think that they both, like, just the expressions I envision Clegane having are Johnny Depp expressions.
Okay, maybe I can see that. All right.
Marjorie is...
You really cast people that don't even come into the show until...
It's fine, okay. I really went hardcore. Okay, Marjorie is Queenie from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh yeah, that kind of fits. Although Queenie is like a little too bubbly, like Marjorie's a little bit more reserved, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true. But I like she's just like this pretty person who can cook, but then it's like she can read your fucking mind, you know? And
honestly, I really am excited for you to see these people, like the actual actors, because they're so perfect.
Yeah.
Like I cannot, like I can't, like, I'm trying to think of like a single cast member that I was like, that doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And they all fit.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my god, that's exciting. I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then whatever her grandma's name is, I forget.
Elena Tyrell.
Tyrell.
The Queen of Thorns.
Yes, the Queen of Thorns is Madeline Wunsch from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. And then Willis Tyrell.
Who we have never seen.
I don't know why. I don't know. For some of these...
I wouldn't even know how to picture him.
I don't know, but my brain just pictures it this way. I'm not saying it's accurate. I'm just saying this is what's in my mind. Is Chandler from Friends, like Matthew Perry, I think his name is?
Okay. I guess. Like, I have no frame of reference for what Willis looks like, so I have no idea.
Okay. Loris Tyrell, this one I think is fun, is Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right?
That's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just beautiful. And then, okay, Robert Baratheon he's not an actor, but I don't care. He's John Mayer, but like buff.
Okay.
Because I think they both have this, like, in my mind, they both have an understated attractiveness.
Okay, I guess. Yeah, I just gotta make him like taller and fatter.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. And then Stannis is Aaron Burr from Hamilton.
Like the version on Disney Plus?
Yes.
Okay. I deserve to be this vibe.
Yeah. And
I want to be in the room where it happens vibe.
Exactly. He's like, you have me on Dragonstone? I can't be in that room, bro. Okay. Melisandre. Natalie Portman.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Especially like when she had the thing inside of her in Thor 2, I forget what it was. Like, you know the thing that she accidentally got
the ether or whatever,
the ether thingy, that. And then Davos in my mind is Benedict Wong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, who's Wong from Doctor Strange.
I would love,
because it's like, he's better than you, but he'll go along with your delusions anyway. And then, you know? So it just kind of works. And then
I like that.
Renly is Ryan Reynolds.
You know what? As soon as you said that Loris is Ryan Gosling, I was like, for some reason, I should have said it. Yeah. But some reason I was like, I bet you said Renly is Ryan.
But isn't it perfect?
It is, and maybe that's why my brain also went to it. But I can't believe I thought that, because it's a little random. But
no, but it's random, but it makes sense. Like when you think about who's in Hollywood and who we know. Okay. Yeah. And then Brienne.
You already told me.
No, I didn't. I didn't tell you.
Yeah,
Brienne.
You were like, is it with the movie with the guy who plays Jaime?
I fucking double cast Brienne.
Oh, okay.
By accident.
Okay, who's your second casting for Brienne?
I had her as Florence Pugh.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. Okay, so the other one was just for the fantasy with Jaime, and here it's like, I feel like this is a bit more true to her character. Well, I think they're both true to her character, but yeah, she's Florence Pugh in my mind.
All right.
And then Peter, does he have a last name?
Baelish?
Oh, okay, yes. Peter Baelish is Christian Coulson, and this is solely based off of looks. I don't even know what that actor's been in.
Oh, played Tom Marvolo Riddle in the 2002 fantasy film Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Holy shit, I didn't even connect the
So
dots
Voldemort.
Please.
Littlefinger is Voldemort.
Please, that's funny. I didn't even connect the dots there. That's hilarious. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and then Varys is the main character from Schindler's List, Liam Neeson.
Is it based on the character or the actor in this case?
A little bit of both.
Okay, it's fair enough.
Yeah. And then Pycelle is Art Malik, who is Grimsby from the new adaptation of The Little Mermaid.
So based on the character then?
A little bit of both, character and looks. Mostly looks, though, for this one. And then Janos Slint, this is also solely based off of looks. It's okay. And then this is also based solely off of looks, is Gil, I don't know how to say his name. Like I said, I don't know him. Gil McKinney, because he just has the slimy frown that I feel like Janos Slint has.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. And then this one I told you before, but I think that Walder Frey, like the big Walder Frey, is Biff from Back to the Future. And I had his actor name. It's Thomas Wilson. And I just think he has a very punchable face, and I hate Frey, especially after recent events.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then I only have one other Frey cast, which is, I forget his name. Okay, the new heir we don't like is Patrick Adams, which is the main guy which is like Mike Ross from Suits, the actor. Just because he has like when he would get mad in Suits, his eyes would get like really beady, and I feel like it just, that facial expression just really matches in my mind. Okay, King Aerys, like Mad King, is Michael Byrne, who played Grindelwald.
Okay, fair enough.
Dany is Miley Cyrus.
What?
It just works in my mind, because when she did like the Disney movies and stuff before, and it was all like, I'm just a girl who likes to sing, and then now she's all like badass and like has found her voice. So that's like Dany's arc, you know?
Okay, yeah.
And she has gone blonde, so you know it works.
Yeah.
Jorah Mormont gives me Skylar Aston, who was the guy from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, the guy who's like, who works at the bar. One? Who works at the bar, and he's just kind of like,
oh, the settle for me guy?
Yeah, the settle for me guy.
Okay. Yeah. That's who? Who's that?
Yes,
Jorah Mormont, because of the settle for me?
Yes. Okay. That's Jorah Mormont. Yeah, that's for good. Context, he sings an entire musical number about how this girl should settle for him, even though he's not all that. Okay, and then Illyrio is Jeremy Irons, who's the old man from Watchmen, who's like on his own planet and shit. Just because he's really like
Illyrio. But Illyrio is supposed to be like, he's like, remember we were like, his whole theme is like yellow.
Yeah, but to me that guy is yellow. That guy's the embodiment of yellow.
Sounds
like,
good.
I just, his like grossness of like, you know, killing all his servants and all that, like he just gives
he's gross,
yellow.
for sure. Yeah.
And then Viserys, I think you'll find this entertaining, is season 1 Anthony Bridgerton from Bridgertons. Because, okay, that actor, Jonathan, I forget what his last name is. Oh my god, I love this actor. I hate that I forget his last name, but Jonathan something is, because he often plays this, like, terrible man character. Like, in the last 5 years, he was this, like, manipulative
Jonathan
Bailey, thank you. He was this, like, manipulative character to his partner, so he often plays this, like, terrible to women character, and that just goes with Viserys.
Yeah, not that he's terrible in Bridgerton.
No, not that he's terrible in Bridgerton, but he starts off a little bit being really annoying and terrible in Bridgerton, but
yeah. That was like, they were waiting for his glow up, I feel like.
Yeah. But love that actor. Like, so iconic. But, yeah. And then Rhaegar is Neil Perry from Dead Poets Society.
Okay.
He's like, because he's also like, he loves musical theater, but it's like a forbidden love for him because his parents are like sending him to this private school and he has to be this like academic god. But he's like, I want to do musical theater. I love it. And you know how Rhaegar has his harp and he just wants to play harp, but everyone's like, you're a warrior, you know? So that. Yeah. And then Khal Drogo is Jason Momoa. And this was based solely off of vibes. And it was right. So I'm okay with that. And then Miri Mazdur is Keira Knightley. She's the girl who played the main character in Pride and Prejudice, and she always has like very pursed lips and like this very distinct expression that I imagine Miri Mazdur would have, like just that disapproving look.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then Commander Mormont is Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay, yeah.
And then Craster gives me Chris Pratt, right?
I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay. And then Mance Rayder, I think this one's interesting, is Matthew McConaughey.
Okay. Yeah, like a leader of the masses kind of deal.
Yeah, and also like very charming, but also like a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of checks out. And then, Bolton, like...
Roose Bolton
is the guy who played like Harvey Dent in the Batman movie. Aaron Eckhart. Mm-hmm. And then Ramsay Bolton is giving...
Ramsay Snow.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, yeah. Ramsay Snow is giving... I don't know how to say his name. Jared Padalecki, which is like Dean...
From Supernatural.
From Supernatural and Dean from Gilmore Girls. That to me is Ramsay.
That's real creepy. Okay.
And then... Okay, you're gonna judge this one. Theon, in my mind, for some reason, now it's different now that I've seen him in the show, but in my mind, he's always been like an attractive person who doesn't take care of himself, so he doesn't look attractive, but he is attractive. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in my mind, he is the main guy from Fault in Our Stars, Ansel Elgort.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he has this scene in Fault in Our Stars where he's like holding a cigarette and the girl's like, dude, you literally have fucking lung cancer. Yeah, and he's like, it's a metaphor. You put the thing that does the killing, rape. And it's just, that to me is Theon's brand of emo, you know? So that's Theon. And then Asha is Joanna from the Hunger Games, who is Jenna Malone. Because she has this scene in the Hunger Games where she's in an elevator with strangers and she just kind of strips in front of them and is very confident about it. And to me, that has the same energy.
She's got the swagger. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, that has the same energy as Asha, as Theon being like, this hot girl, and Asha just going with it.
Yeah.
It's the same level of like, okay, that's a little weird, but it works with your character. And then Jaqen Hagar is Loki / Tom Hiddleston.
You know what? I see that, but like, given that he changes his face like every 2 days, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And then, okay, Great John, rest in peace, homie recently just died, is Robbie Coltrane.
Do we know that he died? Small John for sure died in front of our eyes. We don't know about the Great John.
Okay, well, I hope the Great John isn't dead. To me, he's the guy who played Hagrid, Robbie Coltrane, loyal to the last, you know.
Yeah.
And then Edmure is Nick Jonas.
Okay.
Slightly obsessed with himself and has major younger brother energy.
All right, sure. I don't really know anything about Nick Jonas, but sure.
Hot Pie? This one's really funny. Lou Ramona, which is the guy who played the main guy in Ratatouille.
Okay.
Because, you know, the cooking. It's fine. Because that's what I imagine Hot Pie looks like. Cirio Farrell is Charlie Chaplin.
Okay.
Because he's like quiet as a mouse, you know, all that. Mm-hmm. In the silent films. Okay, and then...
No wonder this took you hours. You were reaching for everybody.
It's fine. Okay, and then I think I have like 3 more. Okay, and then Chet.
Gross.
From Prologue Season 2 is Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay, whatever.
Dunk is Pete Davidson. And I will take no other arguments.
Not Egg. You're gonna cast Dunk, but not Egg.
It's fine.
What?
I did what I could. That's the that's the, what's it called? The creative
process?
Yes, that's the creative process, okay? Sometimes it hits you, sometimes it doesn't. Those are the ones that hit me.
All right. So that's everything. People, go join the Discord and follow us on Instagram at Pop Culture Symposium and send us an email, popculturesymposium@gmail.com. Until next time, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.